Now that we have this back deck, as well as the staircase, let's go ahead and add some columns in order to keep it structurally sound. So we're going to zoom in here to our back deck and staircase. And currently I'm in this TOF walkout view. This is the best view in order to be able to see what it is we're getting ready to draw. Come up here to your columns and pick an architectural column. Now we have a few options here, but the one that I'm going to go with is this 8x8 rectangular column. Personally, I think this might be a little bit of overkill, but it's never a bad thing to oversize as opposed to undersize your columns. And it's also going to achieve the look that I'm looking for in this design. For me, it's a good choice. Next, we can't really tell where this is going to get placed at. So just move up here and just click somewhere in this area. As soon as we click the first time, we will be able to see it. So I'm going to click right here. We can see that this has been put into place. Now I'm going to select onto this column. The rectangular column, that's just fine. We look at the base level for it. And the base level for this should be TOF. So I'm just going to go ahead and select on TOF here. Check this top of level. This information should say TOF-porch, and that is correct. But there needs to be an offset associated with that. And that offset is going to need to be -9¼ inches. So I'm going to come in here -9¼ inches, and I'm just going to apply that. Now we have a 3-dimensional column that's sitting right here, but it's not in quite the right location. So we're going to use the move command, pick on the intersection here, and just move it up to this spot. Next, we need to have a footing that's going to go underneath here, and this footing also just happens to be a column as well. So we're going to come up here to column, and underneath structural column, we're going to see a concrete round column that's 15 inches round. Go ahead and select on that. You can notice that we're not getting a lot of properties here. We will need to adjust this after the fact as well. One thing that we do know, though, is what the height that this is going to go up to. And we can adjust that so that it comes up to the top level, which will be TOF. So instead of this TOF porch, we're going to bring it up to the top of footing. Once you have that, go ahead and just move it here until you see this little, I'll call it a big blue plus sign, which is right in the center of the column. Click right there. You can see how it's nice and round there. It still might not be the right depth though, because we never really had a good opportunity to adjust that. So let's just go ahead and select on that and verify that this is going down to our top of footing walkout level, and it is, and we can see that over here. Now that we've done that, let's go ahead and take a look at this in the 3D view so we have an idea of where we're at as of this moment. You can see that we have a nice heavy column over here, as well as the footing on the underneath side. From here on out, we're going to select on these and we're going to copy this from location to location to location. All this information will be the same underneath the landing here, and then we're going to have to extend this up to be the support structure underneath the deck in this location, as well as this location over here. I'm going to come in here, zoom out just a little bit so I can see a little bit more, and I'm going to window around these two columns. Next, I'm going to pick on the copy command and pick the intersection right here and just come directly over. You can see how we have a copy of this moved over to here. Now I'm going to come down here and I'm just going to come down 2 foot 3 inches because that's what's in my original design. I will say you can make this 2'4", maybe 2'2". It kind of depends on exactly how you went about designing your deck and where these stairs are going to originally fall. In this case, 2'3" straight down works really nice, so that's where we put it. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here. Copy this one, straight down, 2 foot 3 inches, so it's lined up with the one above it as well as the one over to the side. Now it gets to be pretty easy. We're going to copy this one right here down to this intersection and then copy that over to here. So come up, use your copy command, click here, come down here, click where the intersection is at. Make sure this is set at multiple, and then you can just come straight over. Now, it's a little hard to tell how far over you need to come, so we might need to move it after the fact. You can always just pick on it again, zoom in, use your move command, and have it come straight up to that point. And now it's in a good position that we can have some sort of beam coming across here and any kind of beams going across here in order to hold up this deck structure. Now, we're not going to take the time to actually model in those beams. There's really no need for us to do it. When it comes time to call that out, we could always use line work in order to show it. But those beams out there, well, they're going to need to exist, but they don't necessarily need to exist in our Revit model because they're not going to structurally hit anything and cause any sort of complications elsewhere inside of our Revit structure. That being said, let's take a look at this in a 3D view right now. One last thing we'll need to adjust is the heights of each one of these so that they actually come up and tie into the structure. And the height on those parts that are actually attached to the deck is going to be, first, the top of level will need to be adjusted so that it is at the first floor level. Then the top offset is going to need to be set at -1 foot 1 3/4 of an inch. You can see how it moves itself up, and now it's in a nice position to be able to properly support the deck up above. In the end, just remember that whenever you're going to be drawing decks and staircases, particularly on the outside of your building, you're always going to need to have something to be able to hold those things up. And in this case, different types of columns are perfect elements in order to give the structural support that your deck and staircases need.